All right, I think we're live. Hey, Aaron, how are you?
I'm doing great, Prez. How you doing?
I am doing good. Thanks for hopping on with me today.
Yeah,
You are someone who doesn't need much of an introduction. I think the group who's watching this knows who you are. However, for those who don't, let's take a minute, introduce them to Aaron, and tell them a little bit about what we're going to be doing on the 26th of October.
yeah, man. So, look, I am the original OG, right? The OG of internet recruiting. Had a bunch of success with that, and then parlayed that into building a class called the KW Effect that I've been so lucky to be teaching around Keller Williams for the last 12 years. And people think I'm a profit share instructor. I like to say I'm a stakeholder evangelist. My message is, even though it's in the profit share space, Prez, my message is much more about sort of inspiring and empowering our people to think and act like a stakeholder. I think when you're thinking like a stakeholder and you're acting like it, not only are you having a higher level experience at KW and it's affecting your business, your family, your life, you then feel compelled more to share that with people. And when you're walking the walk, when you talk the talk, it's so much more authentic and easier. And I just want to make sure that the people we're in business with understand why and how we're inherently different before we worry so much about all the people we're not in business with right now.
Yeah, I think that's so good. Let's take a second because you talked about you are the OG, the original gangster when it comes to online recruiting, and a lot of people have maybe heard about that or they know you
Yeah.
from your classes, but they really don't know the origin story. And I really think, to me, um, what I don't think people realize what you've unlocked
Yeah.
back in 2000. What was it, four, five,
Yeah.
six?
2005. Yeah. Yeah.
So will you take a second and just kind of take everyone back to like the
Sure.
point you're at Mega Camp, you listened to Gary Keller, and then kind of what happened the next few years?
Yeah, well, let me just first say, Prez, I started at a traditional company, so I had that experience. Was Caldwell Banker, came to KW, wanted nothing to do with profit share. Was lucky enough to join the number one region of KW, the Southeast region, what is now a top 10 market center, Peachtree Road. Look, I had a high level experience at Keller Williams as an agent, and I had some perspective around that because I'd been in another company. And then, it sort of evolved into getting on the ALC and started sort of see sort of behind the curtains and taking a greater ownership stake with KW. And then I went to family reunion in '05. Saw Gary Keller and God bless him, Dave Jenks, doing state of the company back then. And I think people need to understand that, look, in '05, we had 32,000 agents. I mean, we were ranked fifth in the US. We were still this kind of emerging company. And, Gary and Dave said a couple of things that really, set my world on fire. They said, look, one of the number one income producing activities that a KW associate can participate in is attracting other agents to KW. And then they said, many of the leaders of our industry 5 years from now, they're not even in the business yet. And look, I came back to Atlanta. I was a good agent, Prez. I was a capper. But in that moment, I just kind of had this epiphany. I was like, look, I believe more in Keller Williams as a wealth building opportunity and as something that I want to focus on than I ever did as myself as a real estate agent. And so I just decided to make it my one thing. And look, Prez, I had a lot of limiting beliefs back then. I wasn't a mega agent. I didn't hang out with agents. I didn't feel comfortable trying to recruit them face to face. So how was I going to do this? And I kept hearing what Dave and Gary said about many of the leaders of this industry 5 years from now are not in the business yet. And look, back then I had a good friend of mine at KW, way ahead of the internet lead gen curve. We had a great relationship. And it just sort of all came together. I was like, oh my God, man, I'm just going to do what you're doing, except I'm going to go after predominantly brand new agents off the internet. And I think we all can agree that experienced agents are probably not applying to Keller Williams online. Okay. Most of them have relationships. So the internet is the low hanging fruit. It's new agents, people that are newer in the business, people thinking about being real estate agents. But the good news is the quality is in the quantity, right? So look, I launched a recruiting website back in '05. I was the first person to do it. There was a real sense of urgency, like, hey, this is my lottery ticket moment. I'm the first person to do this. Started throwing money at internet lead gen, started dropping thousands of dollars a month on sites like monster.com, Career Builder, was running ads in every city Keller Williams had an office in on Craigslist. And then I opened my inbox one morning, Prez, and there was 50 recruiting leads in there from people all around North America that were interested in Keller Williams, interested in starting a real estate career. That was every day for 3.5 years. And, I just jumped on the phone, started talking to everybody. And then through all of these conversations, and, I just started to realize, look, I can't talk to everybody. I need to create some systems around how I manage these leads. So I started asking tougher questions on my contact forms, like, full-time, part-time, which was always a part of it. But we both know back then it was kind of a trick question. I mean, if you didn't have a full-time mentality, you're probably not going to be successful in real estate back then. I would ask questions like, look, where do you envision the majority of your leads coming from? How are you going to fund your real estate business? And look, I know those are kind of bold questions, but when you're generating a ton of leads, you have more leverage to ask those questions. And so for the people that would answer those questions, right, they would then go up a notch. And then I would, try to get them on the phones and talk to people. And look, Prez, there were a lot of people that I talked to that maybe weren't a fit for KW. But the truth is, I just tried to tether myself to the process, meaning I really got fulfillment out of having conversations with people that I wish somebody had had with me. And I knew that profit share would be a result of that sort of mindset. Because look, when you tether yourself to your next check, or, you give up when you don't get a sponsorship, right? Like that's not sustainable. But when you're in the business of helping people, right, it's fulfilling, it's sustainable. And, I did that for a long time. And then, as you know, I started teaching my recruits how to do it. And one of my recruits, a guy named Brent Mitchell, did it 5 times better than me. And then he taught your recruit, Nick Avila, how to do it. And Nick is on his way to probably beating Brent someday. And look, that's what makes this company.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nick's young. I mean, Brent's getting old, man. Okay. He's got 2 kids, right? Nick is young. And I mean, look, you and I both know it's just a numbers game. I mean, if Nick can sponsor 150 to 200 people a year for the next 10 years, he probably will beat Brent Mitchell, and honestly, that's what we want, man. I mean, I stand on the shoulders of giants. If it wasn't for your parents and Dave Jenks and Mike Brody and Althea Osborne, I wouldn't be here. You guys are growing. This whole thing that I've created is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to create an army of mini-me's that are going to grow this real estate company that I have a huge financial stake in. And, that's what's so exciting about KW is that, we share ideas. This is not a competition, man. We're aligned under the same company that we are stakeholders in. And I'm just excited to see people like Nick and Jules and the other 500 people that have bought websites, and some of the success stories, like people like Robert Bell at KWRI and Maples. I mean, I just love seeing breaking barriers down for people that maybe didn't know how to do it, and we found a way for them to do it that was a fit for their personality.
Well, and I think that is when you think about your legacy, other than introducing this new model. When I think about your legacy, what I think about is not everyone can be Linda McKissick. Not everyone can be Mike Brody, right?
Sure.
Some of these icons who, we all stand on their shoulders.
Yeah.
But what's so cool about your legacy, Aaron, is you introduced a model to our ecosystem that anyone can do. I don't care if you're the CEO of the company or if you're, any other role, like you can do this model. And so I think you're part of what gets me excited about your talk and your legacy is you introduce that to our ecosystem. And I just love your mindset around that, because you're right. We all win when we get more people involved in helping us grow.
Yeah. And look, I mean, you and I are, and I love what you guys are doing. I mean, and people always are like, think that we're somehow competing for, the profit share space. I mean, dude, we're partners, man. And like, when I hear you guys talking about what you want to accomplish, especially as regional owners and market center owners, I mean, it just gets me so excited. I mean, you think I could have gotten Mo Anderson on this virtual summit? You think I could have, gotten John Maxwell, right? I mean, like you guys to be able to see how the power of the McKissicks, right, is able to even bring us to on such larger scale than I could have ever imagined is what makes this company so amazing. And I think we both can agree There is literally so much room for improvement just within our own company. And I
Oh, love that.
actually think, even though I know we are pretty obsessed with gross recruiting numbers at KW, as we should, I actually think the next wave of growth is going to come from within. And it's not just going to
Love that.
be people growing our company, it's going to be people taking a greater ownership stake in it. Because look, growth is messy, Prez, and we have
Yep.
grown very fast as a company. And I think we all can agree. Look, now that we're what I will say, we were on the third generation of Keller Williams. Okay,
Mm.
80 to 90% of our people, I don't think, know what it's like to be this emerging company. They don't
Yeah.
know our origin story, right? They only know KW being the number one company. And we got to make sure moving forward that we are solidifying our story and the story of Gary Keller into the fabric of our company moving forward. Because you and I both know, man, profit share is not about our next check. Okay.
Yep.
This is about a legacy that will ripple through generations of our families. And we have to
That's
make
right.
sure that we are protecting that. And in
Yes.
50 years, 100 years, I mean, your great grandkids will be, you know, receiving profit share because of the stuff that we did today. And I just want to make sure
Love
that
that.
we resemble the company that got us to where we are today in the next 100 years.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for being a chief stakeholder and bringing that
Yeah,
message
you know it,
and
man.
continuing to carry the torch. So let's take a second because we've got you. So we've got the Profit Share Virtual Summit.
Yep.
Hopefully, everyone who's watching this has heard about the summit on October 26th. If you have not, Aaron's going to be one of our keynote speakers.
Yep.
He's going to talk specifically about his. I mean, if you've heard Aaron, you know, like his message is
Yeah.
passionate, it's lively, and it's all about how do you be a stakeholder. So take a second. What anything you just want to share with those who are contemplating or plan on showing up for the event about your talk?
Yeah. I mean, anybody that's taken my class know that it's 95% the why and 5% the what. Okay. Profit share money is a what. Okay. It doesn't drive the behavior and it honestly never will. I mean, if
Yeah.
$1.9 billion in profit share is not enough to motivate people to get purposeful about profit share, I'm pretty sure it's not the money that
Yeah.
motivates
Right.
people. And so, I teach a 3-hour profit share class and I talk 10 minutes about the profit share money because I'm also a huge Simon Sinek fan, and my favorite line of his is, "People don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it." Right.
Yes.
And so, not only is that why important for our own associates, right? Like they have to believe in who we are and where we're going. And Prez, this is an investment, man. If you join KW after April 1st of 2020, this is a 7-year investment minimum,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you got to believe in who we are and where we are going if you're going to be intentional about it. But the other flip side of that is people you're trying to attract to KW, they're not coming here for the money either. They're coming here because of why we're different and how we're different. So I
Yeah.
think it's important to, my messaging is always about, look, I want to make sure the people that we're in business with understand why and how we're different so that they can take advantage of that. And when they speak to people about KW, they don't have profit share breath. They are authentically communicating something that they believe in,
That's right.
someone they respect. And, I think it's time as a company for us to trust our people to have a higher level conversation. Now, I'm not saying it's the job of our associates to recruit. That's leadership's job. But I'm thinking if I'm a team leader and I've got people out there that are thinking and acting like stakeholders in my office, and they're going out there and they're communicating that at a higher level, besides
Hmm.
just saying, I love KW, can I have somebody call you about it? I
Yeah.
just feel like these appointments that are going to be served up to team leaders are going to be warmed up. Okay. The people that are referring them are going to be intentional. They're going to be culture driven associates. And so that's my message, Prez, is that walk the walk first before you talk the talk. But here's the truth. We haven't done a good enough job to empower you. And so I've made a great living in KW telling our own story to our own people. And, at some point here, hopefully there'll be enough mini me's out there of me that will be able to carry that torch moving forward. But I just think that that's the gap that I feel best at KW is that I can tell our story to our own people, I think better than most people in this company. And
Yeah. Love
um,
that.
Yeah, and that's where I get my fulfillment out of. And as a result of that, I built an amazing life at KW, of which profit share is a part of.
Yep. So good. Well, if you want even more of Aaron, because today you just got a little taste,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
if you want the full thing, you're gonna have to come and sign up and join us October 26th for our Profit Share Summit. As a reminder, we do have Aaron said it. Mo Anderson is kind of our headliner
Yep.
keynote, and then we've got a bunch of other amazing speakers like Aaron Kaufman, Linda McKissick, Jason Abrams. We've got some new names this year from
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
which we're really excited about. Actually, some people in your area. We've got Laura Donna and
I love that. I'm
Andy
so glad you
Peters.
did that, Prez. I mean, and really, honestly, I've been saying for years, like, can we get these people on stage more? Because they're doing it at the highest level. And I mean, Andy Peters, I mean, that guy is just insane with what
Yep.
he's like Sean Rawls, and then like Sean Rawls was my OP, right? Andy Peters was actually an agent in my office with Leslie at Peachtree Road, right? So like, that's why I love those guys. I love, what we got going on here in Atlanta, because I think success is simple when you're in business with the right people
Yes,
at
so true.
KW. And, people like Andy. I mean, look, if all you do is attend this event, and I don't know what we're charging, Prez, what are we charging for this event?
For a market center, it's $250 for the
Okay.
watch party, and for an individual ticket, it's $50.
Okay, look, if you're a market center, it's a no-brainer. I'm sorry. If all we do is inspire one of your associates to think and act like a stakeholder and get purposeful about profit share, I have a feeling it'll pay itself off many times over. For $50, you would have to be crazy not to do this, because the truth is, I mean, if all you did was sponsor one person to KW as a direct or indirect result of this summit, I mean, who knows who they might turn into? And what you focus on expands. And I promise you this, the people that attend this event are going to be the people that are going to be the most purposeful about it. So I would say it's probably one of the best investments you can make in your legacy that hopefully you want to leave someday.
Love it. Well, we'll see you guys all October 26th. Aaron, thank you for your time today.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
for giving everyone a little bit of a taste of the KW effect. You'll get the rest of it at the summit.
All right, brother. Can't wait, man. Thanks for all you're doing.
All right, you bet. See ya.
All right.